Elena means a hero. There is no higher calling. Your sister understood something about that.
I should have come back for you.
No. That's just a fairy tale.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Florence, you jumped off a real building for the opening sequence of the movie. Did you two do any stunts yourself? Other than that spectacular thing?
Me?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you two, the both of you.
Yeah, I think you try to do as much as you can, and you have a fantastic stunts team that train you to be as capable of doing things as possible. And then you also have fantastic stunt doubles that are there to do all the bits that would be maybe a bit too lethal, or maybe you don't do it as well as them. So you always try and get as fit as possible to make sure that you get to enjoy all of that fun, because it's a lot of fun doing stunts.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, there's a fun little sequence in the movie which I feel like goes by so fast you don't notice it, but I wanted to do this thing because in the comics, one of the defining characteristics of Red Guardian was like he had a shield at one point, like Captain America, you know, it's this mirror image, but he also had like a really oversized belt buckle. That was like his weapon, was like his big old belt buckle. And so in the movie at one point, I do beat up some minions with a belt, and I did some belt training, which is a lot like working with nunchucks because you're using this weapon in this way. So I know how to kill you with a belt.
Nice.
Yes, it's what you want.
It's definitely a skill you need. Can you tell me more about the desert chase scene with the convoy? How did you shoot that?
That was another practical, you know, not jumping off a building, but being in a really hot car in the middle of Utah in the desert.
In summer.
In summer. It was like 100 degrees. The air conditioning didn't work.
But it was so fun, though.
It was so fun.
All of those elements should have made those days unbearable, and it was so funny.
Yes. We were all, you know, making each other laugh, and just the whole sequence was really wacky. But it was just us in a vehicle in the middle of nowhere, you know, doing this scene. It was great.
Regarding maybe a little less fun about the story, how did you balance the dark aspects of the story with the lighthearted humor?
I think, like all Marvel movies, they managed to balance that so well. You can't make one without the other. It's really important that we have those moments of levity, and it's also then really important to see these grand characters as people that have flaws like the rest of us, and they have regrets like the rest of us. And it's also, as actors, it's really lovely to be able to play both, because otherwise I think it would make for a very heavy set if it was only one and not the other. And also, you know, they are ridiculous. These characters are very broad, they're big, they're wearing funny costumes. It's hard to not take the piss out of one another. So of course, naturally, that goes into the movie.
And like the creative team, I think, is what makes this movie. Sometimes you have teams where you put a bunch of people together and it just doesn't quite fit. Everything kind of rubs against each other. The writer doesn't understand, the director doesn't understand, the writer doesn't understand the actors, and you get a feeling like it doesn't work. This was, you know, it was just one of those kismet situations where we started off with a really strong, wacky idea from Eric Pearson, and then, you know, Jake comes in and brings this very indie, cool sensibility to it. Then you have just phenomenal actors like Florence and Wyatt and Sebastian, and it just takes on this beautiful life of its own. And I think those things just become intuitive almost. The fact that it's going to be funny and dramatic, and we always want to explore the new as we're working on it, and makes it even more rich.
Regarding that exploring, how did the two of you work together on your character dynamics? Because that one scene between the two of you was really, really touching. I cried a little bit in the cinema.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for your tears. How did we work on it? You know what was really cool is we both had an intention coming into this movie that we well, we're excited to work with each other again, and excited to see where our characters were and how they felt towards one another. But we had a few rehearsal periods where we would just comb through things that we wanted more, things that we wanted to bring up, lines that we wanted to change. And I think both of us were really excited about making sure that their relationship, which was already complex, is growing. And if they need to shout at each other, let's write a scene where they get to shout at each other, because it's important that we're representing a dynamic that A, feels real, and B, father-daughter relationships are always hard and always unique and always strange and always need work. And I think both of us understood the assignment with that and knew that we wanted to make sure that we had those scenes in place where we could see that their characters and their character arcs together were growing.
Yeah, and that, like, you know, Natasha is not really a character in it, but she's a character in it because she's a ghost. And the idea of what families go through when pivotal members disappear, and how you have to struggle to maintain those relationships as they change, as they naturally will. You know, there's just so much material, I think, for these two characters too. Like in terms of his feelings about her, his hopes for her, his pushing her in directions maybe that she doesn't want to go, their love for each other, their confusion at each other's choices, at how to help each other. All of that is just ripe for so much exploration. And we were both really game and both wanted to, you know, I think that's the amazing thing about working with someone like Florence is you know, you're just working with a real actor who wants to plumb the depths of human beings and sort of what makes people tick. And that's just always a joy. There's just always more to explore.
Thank you.
We can't stop him alone. No one can. But we can find a way. Together.
Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts.
Under pressure.